So the Tennessee Titans have addressed the edge rusher spot, which they really needed to do. They go out and get Bud Dupree, who's a really good edge rusher. He had some really good years for Pittsburgh, and now they're giving him $16 million or $16.5 million for a multi-year deal. I haven't yet been able to find out the exact numbers on it, but that seems to be what it is, $16.5 million for I don't know how many years. So let's get into the film study and really talk about what I like about Dupree. He's really a great edge rusher, and I think was really underrated, largely because TJ Watt got a lot of the shine. And you did see how, I don't think it's a coincidence that the team really struggled after he got hurt. In fact, amazingly, the Pittsburgh Steelers were 11-0 with him on the field last year and 1-5 with him off the field. Obviously, that's a bit of an oversimplification, but let's just talk about what I like about him. This play, he's going to be going up against 71 for Cleveland right here, and really what I want to talk about is just the hands. And I feel like Dupree does a really good job of using his speed to his advantage. He's often going to, he's not going to be getting too creative. He likes to use his speed, but he uses his hands in a very clever way. Well, watch. Once this play starts, you notice that there's that outside left arm right here for Cleveland. And that's what, you just see Dupree. He has his left arm up. He's just going to basically slam it down and not allow that arm to really push him backwards. Because that's really where usually a play is won. When you're an edge rusher against a left tackle, it's going to be the left hand. And if you can knock it out of the way, especially when you're as fast as Dupree, that can be a key factor. And as you see, he does that. It does get pushed behind Mayfield, but Mayfield stepped up and eventually takes the sack. So, gets the pressure, and then because Mayfield waited a little bit too long, ends up getting the sack as well. One thing I want to talk about is twist. He's someone who you're going to want to use some twist with him because, again, he has that speed, so use it to your advantage, and don't be afraid to run stunts. Don't be afraid to get creative with a really fast edge rusher in Bud Dupree. So, the way this works, usually I like to change the, color coordinate these things from offense and defense to make it easier to see, but with the Steelers logo, pretty much the only thing that really showed up on it was black, so all three are black. But basically what you're going to want is the defensive end on this play to kind of just run to 75's left, the left guard's left. You're trying to get the left guard to go further in that direction, and then Bud Dupree runs in between the guard and the center. And the hope here is that nobody picks this up, nobody realizes what's happening, and now you have a, Bud Dupree who can go quickly through that gap. And watch, once this play starts, you notice that, so really well executed by Pittsburgh. They do a good job of selling that this is what they're doing, and now there is a big gap where Dupree can run through. The question is just going to be, can Dupree get there quick enough? Because, it took a little bit to just set it up. So now you have to have the speed to hurry up and try to at least create some pressure. But watch how Dupree does get there quickly, and Mayfield somehow manages to throw that ball away. But, Dupree completely disrupted that play. And again, using him with stunts, it's going to be a key thing that Tennessee is going to be able to do. And that can work in multiple ways because now you're setting up pressure not just by one guy, but with two guys, because you can have the defensive tackle next to him also get some pressure. Because, watch, he can do it either side. He doesn't have to be the guy who's using speed. He can also be the guy who's just using his power to set up stunts. So in this play, he's basically just going to run straight into the guard. That's what he's going to do here. But watch how he does just have this power to knock him backwards and create some pressure. Again, he got blindsided, so that's why. But Dupree used his speed to get there quickly and just sort of shocked him there. So Pittsburgh was really good at that last year. A large part of it was with Dupree. And I do think that, I think that this is a huge addition to Tennessee because he, plays like this. It's not just that you're adding a good player. You're adding someone who can, actively make other players better on the football field. Let's go over to this one now. This is a really good example as well of, I think, just sort of how sometimes he can just disrupt an entire play. And sometimes you think you have something smart set up, and you just have to, pay more attention to that side of the field. And again, it's part of why Pittsburgh was so dominant early on, was because they had Dupree and Watt. Losing Dupree hurts them, helps Tennessee. And what Cleveland is going to do on this play is it's play action, and 81 to tight end, he's going to pull over, and he's going to eventually block Dupree. And what you expect is Dupree says, is this a run? Is it a pass? Oh, okay, it's a pass. And by that point, he's getting blocked by a tight end. And while that is kind of a favorable matchup, you just hope that the angle makes things easier. But watch Dupree just read it quickly, and at no point does he even get touched, and he just has that immediate sack. Again, that's just a good read and good speed. That rhymed, kind of. So I think that, again, stuff like that, it almost makes you have to not do some things that you want to do because he'll just completely disrupt the play. And, a sack is a huge deal. It really is. It can completely stall a drive. So that's why every team wants a good pass rusher. I want to show one more play. This one is going to be, it's going to be another twist. So, again, I know it got a little bit twist heavy. Trust me, he can do a great job at beating the, just a tackle in a one-on-one. And you saw that earlier. But really, it's less about the twist and more about what's going to happen on this play. So watch. You see Dupree. He's going to be able to get through pretty quickly. And on the other side, TJ Watt tripped up Drew Lock. So Drew Lock already going down. What do most edge rushers do in this situation? Probably just run over, push him down, make sure he gets to the ground, and that's the play. What do most quarterbacks do in this situation? Probably just go down so they don't get hurt. But, Drew Lock, he's a young player. He wants to keep the play alive, which is probably a mistake. But, an admirable one, I suppose. And Dupree, he notices this. And not only that, but he notices that Drew Lock is holding the ball with one hand, which is something you should try and take advantage of. It's incredibly difficult to notice that in real time. I mean, I freeze framed it, and it took me a couple of tries to really realize what exactly happened here. He notices this in real time, notices Drew Lock has the ball in one hand, and is going to try to punch it out while making sure he still tackles him. So worst case scenario, it's just a sack, which is the same as best case scenario if you just go for the sack. And as you see, he is going to knock this one out, and it ends up being a Pittsburgh recovery. So that's just, again, it's that little awareness. And I do think that Dupree is the kind of guy where he will get those fumbles. And one thing about Pittsburgh is they do get a lot of fumbles, not only knocking them out, but recovering them, or at least they did. And a large part of it is because you have those fast edge rushers. And having a fast edge rusher, it just creates more fumbles. It just does. So Tennessee, they tried the Clowney experiment last year. That didn't work so well. Now they're trying the Bud Dupree experiment. I have a feeling this one's going to work a lot better. They already have a pretty good rest of their defensive line with Autry, Simmons, and Landry. But I think that what they could really use is that Bud Dupree just get pressure immediately, get a sack immediately, knock the ball out, create havoc, beat a guy that you have to double team. Otherwise, you're going to be, under fire constantly, and your quarterback's going to get injured. That's what they, I think, needed. And I do think that we'll also see a much improved secondary because they'll get more pressure. And those things often go hand in hand with how they look because it's a lot easier to cover someone for 2.5 seconds than for 5 seconds. But yeah, that's just what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on this Bud Dupree move? How much do you think it's going to help the Titans? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.